In the shadows of history and in the pages of ancient prophecies lies a figure who has generated fear and mystery for centuries, the Antichrist. Today we will delve into 10 key aspects of this shadowy figure, from his prophetic origins to his defeat. Are we prepared to recognize the signs that announce his arrival? Since ancient times, the scriptures have pointed to the coming of a character who will embody absolute evil. In the book of Daniel, we find visions that speak of this king of great power and cunning. Welcome to Daily Biblical History. Today we will explore an inspiring message to strengthen your faith and bring peace to your heart. Leave a like to support our channel and subscribe if you are not already subscribed, so you don't miss any of the motivational content we post here. In the scriptures, the Antichrist is described as one who will directly challenge God in the end times, seeking to deceive and subjugate humanity. In the book of Daniel, we find visions that speak of this king of great power and cunning. In Daniel 7:25, his defiance of the Most High and his attempt to control the times and the law are mentioned. In Revelation 13:12, his figure is magnified by being described as a leopard-like beast, receiving power from the dragon Satan himself to consolidate his position as global leader during a time of chaos and despair. These passages reveal the audacity of the Antichrist in challenging the established divine order and seeking to establish his dominion over all humanity. The Antichrist, as a political and religious leader, will be a master of manipulation and seduction. His rise to power will not only be marked by charismatic speeches, but also by a supernatural ability to influence the masses. In Daniel 7:25, we see the description of his defiance of the Most High and his attempt to control the times and the law. Already, in 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4, his ambition is clearly described as that of sitting as God in the temple, demanding absolute worship. His leadership will not be restricted to a specific location, but will extend globally, affecting all nations and cultures. The Antichrist will represent a magnetic and persuasive figure, capable of uniting multitudes under his command with deceptive promises of peace and prosperity. The Antichrist will play a crucial role in establishing a new world order that will replace traditional structures of power and control. According to prophecy, he will have the authority to make war against the saints and overcome them, exercising power over every tribe, language, and nation. The imposition of this global system will be marked by the worship of the beast and the persecution of those whose names are not written in the Lamb's Book of Life. This totalitarian government will reject divine principles, promote values that are contrary to God's will, and persecute those who remain faithful to the Lord. Unification under the rule of the Antichrist will pose an unprecedented challenge to the faith of believers, requiring spiritual discernment and steadfastness in the face of the oppression imposed by this evil system. During the rise of the Antichrist as a political and religious leader, he will promise apparent peace and illusory prosperity. In Daniel 9:27, it is mentioned that he will make a covenant with many for 1 week. But in the middle of that week, he will cause sacrifices and offerings to cease. This period of false tranquility will be interrupted by the arrival of the desolator, bringing with him abominations that will trigger the consummation of prophesied events. In 1 Thessalonians 5:3, it is warned that when they say peace and safety, destruction will suddenly come. The Antichrist will use this false sense of stability to deceive many and consolidate his power, leading to desolation and spiritual chaos. The Antichrist's promise of peace will be a deadly trap for those who allow themselves to be seduced by his deceptive words. The Antichrist will be endowed with supernatural powers granted by Satan, manifesting deceptive signs and wonders to deceive and deceive many. In 2 Thessalonians 2:9, it is mentioned that his coming will be accompanied by the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders. These deceptive signs will serve to lead people away from the truth and lead them to destruction, darkening the minds of those who seek the truth. The Antichrist will not only exercise political and religious authority, but will also demonstrate supernatural power that will make him even more dangerous and seductive in the eyes of humanity. His ability to perform false and deceptive miracles will be a powerful tool to consolidate his rule over the nations and lead people away from the path of true faith. The Antichrist will implement a system of absolute control over humanity known as the mark of the beast. In Revelation 13, 16, 17, it is described that he will cause everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. This mark will be necessary to conduct basic business transactions, such as buying and selling. Those who refuse to accept this mark will be ostracized from society, facing severe persecution and extreme restrictions. The imposition of the mark of the beast will represent total submission to the Antichrist's regime, symbolizing the renunciation of faith in God and commitment to the oppressive system established by him. The final defeat of the Antichrist will be an event of epic proportions, marking the absolute triumph of divine justice over evil. In 2 Thessalonians 2:8, it is declared that the Lord will consume the lawless one with the breath of his mouth and destroy him with the brightness of his coming. This cosmic event will represent not only the fall of the Antichrist, but also the definitive defeat of Satan and his followers. In Revelation 20:10, it is described that the devil, the beast, and the false prophet will be thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur, where they will be tormented forever and ever. Christ's victory over the forces of evil will be complete and eternal, restoring divine order and establishing a reign of peace and justice for all eternity. An intriguing characteristic of the Antichrist is his disdain for human relationships, especially family and romantic ties. In Daniel 11:37, it is mentioned that he will not regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor any god, for he will magnify himself above all. This verse highlights not only his rejection of God, but also his lack of appreciation for the emotional connections that structure humanity. The Antichrist will be an isolated leader, driven by ambition and power, oblivious to any kind of connection or empathy. This coldness reflects a moral degradation that will intensify in the end times, as described in 2 Timothy 3:2-3. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents. This indifference to family values is a sample of the social chaos that the Antichrist will foster, promoting an environment where relationships are despised and godly principles are ignored. The Antichrist, in his unbridled quest for power and control, seeks to usurp the throne of God and establish himself as a divine entity. His ambition goes beyond simple earthly domination. He longs to be worshipped as a supreme being, demanding absolute obedience from all humanity. In 2 Thessalonians, we see this intention clearly described as direct opposition to everything that is called God or is worshipped, placing himself in the place of supreme deity. This extreme arrogance and absolute defiance of divine sovereignty reveal the evil and insatiable nature of the Antichrist, who seeks to subvert not only the order established by God, but also the hearts and minds of those who dwell on earth. His boundless ambition leads him to seek not only political or religious power, but a position of worship and reverence that belongs only to the Creator. The Antichrist's attempt to seize the throne of God represents not only an act of cosmic rebellion, but also an affront to divine majesty and a frontal challenge to the Lord's sovereign reign over all creation. The final defeat of the Antichrist will be an event of epic proportions, marking the absolute triumph of divine justice over evil. In 2 Thessalonians 2:8, It is declared that the Lord will consume the lawless one with the breath of his mouth and destroy him with the brightness of his coming. This cosmic event will represent not only the fall of the Antichrist, but also the definitive defeat of Satan and his followers. In Revelation 20:10, it is described that the devil, the beast, and the false prophet will be thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur, where they will be tormented forever and ever. Christ's victory over the forces of evil will be complete and eternal, restoring divine order and establishing a reign of peace and justice for all eternity. After the defeat of the Antichrist and the judgment of Satan, God will bring about a new heaven and a new earth. This promise fills us with hope and reminds us of God's redemptive plan. In Revelation 21:1-4, it is written, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things have passed away." This vision reminds us that suffering and darkness will not have the last word. Christ's triumph inaugurates a new era of peace, justice, and perfect communion with God. Let us be vigilant in holiness and steadfast in faith to face the challenges of the last days with courage. The time is now. May we remain faithful to divine truth, awaiting with hope the final victory of Christ over all evil. Amen. Are you enjoying the message? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this motivational word today. And leave your comment. We want to know how this message impacted your life.